Welcome to the Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu podcast, episode 050. My name is Isaac Tauaefa, and I am here with
Lucas Pinckard.
Josh Straussberger.
my man. What's up, fellas?
What's going on?
How's it going?
It's the same.
What does that mean?
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything.
It's the same.
It's the same?
Yeah. I live my life with a
Quarter
high
mile at a
level
time.
of consistency.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
No, like peaks and valleys, just kind of
Yes.
even keel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just roll with it, man.
Levels.
If yesterday was a terrible day and you said the same, then I would be concerned because it would just be more
I'm
of the same.
I'm the same.
Oh, I
Yesterday may have been a terrible day, but I'm the same.
Check.
Okay, maybe I'm learning something here.
Consistency. Don't like it, but
Don't
cool.
like it.
Yeah.
Respect.
You seem like the kind of person that doesn't enjoy consistency.
Well, I don't even know what it is.
Not that. That is one of the most consistent dudes that you'll ever meet because my man is about it.
About it.
James 122.
About it.
Be about it.
Yep.
Stickers.
Man, that'd be
Stickers
cool on
coming
a
soon.
shirt.
It would be cool on a shirt.
It would be
It's
cool on a
designed.
Did you get that? Did you see that picture of the shirt?
Yeah, I'm in the group.
Yes. JP actually told us, move this message over here. Don't bother Lucas while he's. I said, well, I thought Pookie would just want to be involved in.
Yeah, I
Sometimes
do like
we
it.
do
Yeah.
get carried away, though.
Yeah, we do. Blowing him up.
I'm
Pastor Pookie.
fine. Yeah. I know how to regulate my text messages.
Regulators.
Oh, bro. Don't get me started.
No? I kind of want to get them started.
Well, okay, let's just first order of business because I need a little bit of caffeine here.
Yeah, let's
Check.
do that.
Let's go ahead and get a good can crack here.
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
going to do, don't worry, guys. You're safe from the slurp. Steven's gone.
I'm slurping.
Oh, you are? Okay.
I'm
Well,
slurping.
good. And Steven's on.
Bro, you didn't even count down.
He did it.
I didn't count down. I got anxious. This is why I can't be in all the group texts that you guys are in.
Anxiety.
I'm a man of action. Time for all this talking.
That was for Steven.
I'm going to pour one out for my homies.
Okay, that was cool. That was actually kind of cool.
Yeah. Why'd you say don't?
Yeah.
You don't understand.
Is there something in your pocket? You're looking like directly in your pocket. What's happening over
No,
there?
I'm
I remember my first podcast.
Mute pedal over here,
Oh, yeah.
which I need to.
My
it's a
first
new edition.
podcast.
Yep.
Let's hope it doesn't get stuck in.
Yeah, this is 50 podcasts.
50
Dude,
podcasts.
for y'all.
That's
Yeah.
crazy, man. Almost
Have you
a
been on
year's
every
worth.
episode?
No, I missed the one with Troy.
Yep.
Oh,
that the only
wow.
one?
Was that the first one you missed?
Was it, or was there one other
I
one?
think there was one.
I
of
feel
them.
like there was one other one. Me and JP were gone, and you and
Yep,
Steven.
that's
did
right.
it.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
Lucas.
Yep.
But two.
Yeah.
But I was also on one that never got aired.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So technically, I've only
You've
missed
done
one.
enough.
Yeah.
You've done 50.
Yep.
I can't believe it's awesome. We never aired that one. Y'all weren't missing much.
No, it was actually.
It was
not-
early on.
Yeah, it was
early on.
rough. It was
Mistakes were
rough.
made.
Yeah. It
Uh,
was like 50 minutes of 60 minutes that was
Yeah.
burrito talk.
Yeah, burrito.
And it was,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
felt bad about that when we finished.
I loved that episode. I thought it was hysterical, but I'm also glad it didn't air.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of burritos,
Yeah.
shout out to Jocko Fuel. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you for the Jocko Goes. Thank you for an incredible lineup of products. You guys have heard us talk about it. 50 episodes now. Incredible products that we believe in, that we use regularly and consistently because they are incredible top-tier products.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite in the Jocko lineup?
Man, it's hard to single one out because I take...
It's not hard.
Okay, I don't know. I
You
take...
talking about just Jocko Fuel or?
No. Of all of the Jocko, like the Jocko supplements. What's your favorite?
Oh,
Subs?
Yeah. Yeah. What's yours? What do you got?
I don't know. I mean, because every day I take vitamin D and joint warfare. And
Yep.
Super
Krill
Yep.
oil. Yep. I don't know, man. I think I enjoy the Goes the most, just because it's flavor, it's energy, they're clean. I enjoy
Goes
it.
and hydrate for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
It's the greens for me, man.
I use those
So
pretty daily.
I do not.
The greens,
can't.
The greens for me are the absolute best because I hate cooking greens. Like I don't mind eating them, but as busy as I am and as strict as my schedule is, like I'll cook 3 or 4 pounds of meat at a time that I can just, throw in the air fryer, cook it up, and then go. But if I'm cooking vegetables with that, then I got to have a separate den set up for, frying those. Vegetables are not great reheated typically.
Well, they're just not great the first time around.
They're
either.
really not great.
Bro, I
I
love spinach.
Yeah,
I
of the
like
one of my
spinach.
favorites,
I like
yeah.
spinach, but I don't love it.
Like I'll put it in a smoothie or something, if I'm in a hurry. But I like cooked spinach, but the greens for me is like where it's at.
Do you do the peach or the regular pineapple coconut?
I do the pineapple coconut, man. Yeah,
like 'em.
yeah.
Never had
Kirsten's not a fan of peach flavored stuff,
Oh,
and
see,
so
I am.
periodically she'll take the pineapple coconut because it's got a lot of really good stuff in there that she can take too as
Solid
being
vitamins
in
and minerals.
the third trimester.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Baby
For
number 2
home
on the
stretch,
way.
baby. Home stretch.
Yep, we are not prepared.
You
not.
You're never are. No, you can't be.
I can't do leafy greens. Just got some issue with them, like some kind of
Like anaphylactic issue?
like
or just
like headaches,
Not
and stuff
that
like
level.
that. They're kind of like triggers for migraine stuff for me. I've
leafy
found
greens
out.
are triggers for
Yep,
migraines for you?
yep.
I've got a friend who she competes in strong woman competitions in Mississippi. Yes, shout out Jamie
What's her
Douglas.
name? Is Trunchbull?
No, Jamie Douglas. She's just an absolute phenomenal athlete. Played softball in college, and now she's married, and they've got just amazing kids. She's an awesome mom. But red meat, she found out like after she was competing, after she was a college athlete, that red meat is something she's allergic to. So like if she has a steak, and she used to work at a steakhouse, if she has a steak or if she has, a taco, right, it's 2 or 3 days of headaches.
Yeah, dude. No,
That's terrible.
I would
That's
Yeah,
terrible.
exhaust
it's
all
awful.
of my resources to figure out, the best of the best. Figure this out for me, please, because I'm not living my life without.
I'm not going
Yeah.
to say what comes into my head for this.
Oh yeah, for sure. Right? Like it would be absolutely awful. But and she loved, obviously loved red meat, especially as an athlete. That's like one of the highest sources of protein and your vitamin K and all the fats and all those kinds of things. So she's had to completely change her lifestyle, once this kind of set in, but she's still able to compete as an athlete at a super high level. So there's always, if you can't eat leafy greens, then yeah, grab the Jocko greens.
Yeah,
It's got all the super food stuff that you need in there.
It's good stuff.
Use code JJJ10. You
At
get yourself 10% off of all of that at checkout. And you can also do that with Origin USA. Yeah, which I get some Origin rash guards.
yeah.
I just got in, which I'm really, really stoked about. And then I just got some of their new gi bottoms.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which I'm really
They're sweet.
Pro
man.
pants
uh,
with the Velcro and the.
yeah.
And the
yeah.
buckle,
Oh,
man,
they're
the buckle.
super
I can't
nice.
hardly wear gis that have the drawstring anymore.
I kind of don't want to wear them to jiu-jitsu
yeah.
because I just want to wear them around the house.
They're really
They're
comfortable.
so. Kirsten was like, you're gonna have to like wear them to jiu-jitsu. Like eventually, I was like, no, they could get messed up. These are my
But
house
the thing is,
pants.
they won't.
Yeah,
They
well,
won't. They're
it
pretty
I'm not
solid.
I'm not gonna risk them getting messed up by me sweating in them and then not getting them into the wash fast enough.
Oh, yeah.
Even with the antimicrobial protection that they have. Nope. These are my home pants.
I love them.
I like
And I
s-
feel like a samurai whenever I walk around with those on and my
Samurai
Origin rash guard. Yep,
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
I like some
I just have to
Origin
watch
stuff.
it.
Me too,
'cause I'll-
man.
I have a couple items.
Me too.
Yeah,
Must be
just a
nice.
few.
You have some sick field pants. I want. That's
code works the
Yep.
same there. And then it gets you a little bit off of the boots.
Yeah.
So I've got my pair of the lugs are coming in.
Yeah.
But so I got the carbon colored, so they're made to like the whiskey they keep in stock. The carbon colors are made to order.
I got the whiskey.
Yeah, so I'm counting down. I no longer have 6 to 8 weeks. Now I'm like 4 to 6 before they come in. So
Yeah.
I'm stoked about it.
good for you.
Thank you.
That's exciting.
So it's a Q&A episode, so I have a question to start it with.
Oh, you got a quench in for us?
Wait, can I just? Sorry, 1 second.
Yeah, you got something else, Isaac?
Well, I have to say this.
Yeah,
You
go
told me
ahead.
to say this. We got to give a shout out to Shields,
Oh yeah.
the
for sure.
incredible sports and outdoors company. I mean, really, it's an amazing it's essentially the size of a mall, but it's all
It has-
sports
it
and outdoor
literally has
stuff.
everything.
It has everything, guns, and that's where I bought my compound bow, and I bought my pistol, and I bought
Coffee,
a million things. Oh, dude, barbecue supplies. Like I've gotten everything there.
all
Kayaks.
the seasonings,
Yep.
kayaks, camping stuff,
You
sports
can get your
stuff.
e-bikes there.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen those?
I have.
Yep. I'm interested in an e-bike. Yeah, okay, you can be on the fence about
No,
it.
I mean, I would try it.
Look, here's the
Tim
thing.
Kennedy makes them look cool with his
Here's
little.
Tim Kennedy. Anything Tim Kennedy does looks slightly cooler just because it's him doing it.
I guess you're right.
Yeah. If something were to happen, right? I don't know how to ride a horse. Right? And I don't have I know how to ride a horse. I don't have a horse handy and available, but I'm the size of a messenger boy. So I'm going to get the e-bike because nobody's looking at me being like, oh, you know what? That's the guy we're going to rally behind. But they are looking at me like, I bet you could put something in your man purse and get it across the highway.
You could get that message.
You
over
could get
there.
this message over there pretty quick. So yeah, so I'm gonna learn. I'm thinking about the e-bike. So
Okay.
when
Well,
the
get
zombie
your-
apocalypse happens, that I'll be everybody's with my European carry-all in tow.
Yeah.
Get your e-bike at Shields. So Shields, we got to give a shout out to Shields. Thank you for. So we got this
It's my
hookup
diminutive
through
stature, Josh.
our friends who work. A few of them work at Shields, and Shields donates a certain amount of money on behalf of each employee every year. And then we had some friends through the Jiu-Jitsu community who wanted to have Shields allocate some of those funds to Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu, and so it was a big blessing for us. And so even though we are not connected with Shields corporate office or anything or the headquarters or anything like that, on the employee level, we have some friends there, and we're just super grateful that Shields cut a check to our nonprofit organization
To further the gospel.
to further the gospel.
Yeah, it's
It's
pretty
really
cool.
cool. So, and I know that they're,
They're a great company.
from everything I
Yep.
can tell, a Christian company, right?
Seem to be.
Seem to be.
I don't-
So thank you guys very
They're
much.
definitely a pro-America.
Yeah. Which is not explicitly Christian, but
No.
yes.
no. They're
I'm-
not communists.
I'm
though.
made
Agreed.
slightly uncomfortable by their animatronic athletes.
Yeah, that is a weird addition.
Yeah,
in
but
my
the kids
opinion.
love them.
Oh, yeah.
Do
Although my kids do, but you know what my kids
the
love
old
the
people.
best?
Chuck E. Cheese?
The
No,
Aquarius.
at Shields. No,
No.
Ferris
bro,
wheel?
I'm from Memphis. Bass Pro Pyramid.
Okay. Ferris wheel?
That they do like Ferris. No, there's a huge bear upstairs, right by the barbecue section.
Oh, yes,
and-
yes.
Like a real one? Can you
yeah,
wrestle
he's
him?
like 9 feet tall.
I mean, you could try.
He's
but-
standing up.
But they
completely.
take pictures. Yeah, he's like a golden bear standing
Yeah.
up, humongous.
That's
We get a picture with him every time.
Every time I think I can take a bear, like I
Didn't
feel like
you
every
see
6 months I
that?
see that thing,
and you're like,
yeah,
and his claws are this long.
yeah.
Okay, so question number one,
My question.
right? Okay, go ahead with your question.
No, you go ahead.
You guys know they used to like let people wrestle bears, right? Like
Yeah.
this was the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And they would declaw the bear, and a lot of times they
Mhm.
would take most, if not all, of his teeth out or something like
Mhm.
that.
That's still a gamble.
Yeah.
Would you wrestle a bear given those
Yes.
conditions?
100%.
The pre-PETA conditions, would you
Yes.
wrestle a bear?
100%. Especially because they're kind of raised in that environment. You can
Yes.
tell they're more docile. If that thing just wanted to put you on the ground with its no claw hand
And just squish your chest
squish-
in?
yeah, it could.
Yeah, just game over.
But it doesn't. know
It
to do
wasn't
that.
because it's used to it.
Yeah.
I would do it.
So in that instance, I would absolutely single leg, take it down.
I don't know if
knee
you
on
could sing-
belly,
I don't
That'd
think
be a
you're
hard
single leg on
single
a
leg.
bear, bro.
punch choke it with
A
my,
bear
my
has
belt
a
or something.
lot better understanding of leverage than we do.
Yeah.
Just
I think you got to get on the
completely
back.
instinctually.
I'm just
You ever seen two bears
being
fight?
silly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't think you're single legging a bear.
dude, no way, no. I'm
You
totally
gotta go
joking.
on the back.
Backpack
Totally
choke,
joking.
maybe.
I'm totally joking.
Yeah.
JP was appalled that I didn't absolutely believe that I could kill a bear with my bare hands. You know?
He sent me a text message
A
this
small
week.
one, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, no problem.
He sent me a text message this week that was like very encouraging, and I was like, "Oh, what prompted that?" And he goes, "I was just thinking about you fighting bears and changing the world." It's like, cool. Glad I made it in that lineup.
That's a
but
cool lineup.
Man,
yeah.
that's a great lineup.
but I'm worried about our guy. That's those are the things that was on. I was like,
It's just typical brain trauma stuff,
I like
dude.
it.
yeah,
I
that's
like
too
it.
many Jocko goes. I think maybe
No,
for
no,
There's
Jocko
no
that
level.
afternoon.
Of, that's
No, it's
got.
it's TBI. I got the same kind of thoughts.
These are good for your brain.
Yeah, they are. They got
The
no
nootropics.
tropics in them. All right, so
My
Josh,
question.
actual question one.
My actual
Yeah.
question
Yeah,
one.
question one.
It's
Write
the
it
only
down
question
right now.
I'm asking.
Question one.
What's your current favorite Jocko
Josh.
flavor? to drink?
Straussberger.
I'm holding it right now, buddy. This is my
Blue
this
Raz?
blue raspberry.
Raz?
Yeah, dude. This is a kick in the taste buds. You know what I'm saying? This is a rear naked choke on the taste buds.
I respect that. That's my number 2.
What's your number 1?
Let me guess. Can I guess?
You can,
Hold on a second.
You guess. It's my favorite has not changed over all the years.
Tropic Thunder.
No.
Oh, Sour Apple Sniper.
Correct.
I have a new favorite,
Okay.
which is sad that it's my new favorite because they're not making it anymore. Right? The Mango Mayhem, right? Which they're still making the flavor, but they're not calling it Mango Mayhem
There's
anymore.
no more carbon fiber
Right.
can.
So here's why it's my favorite. Because I noticed on all the cans that, like, you know, the Sour Apple Sniper can had, you know, JP Donnell, Elite Seal Sniper. And then there's all these other ones. The Mango Mayhem says, Echo Charles, presses record.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I can relate to that. Like, this is now my flavor.
I love
like,
that.
I love JP. The Sour Apple Sniper flavor is probably the best one of them.
Yeah.
But Echo Charles, when I saw that, I was like, you know what? He's actually probably my spirit animal. So I got to go.
This,
You know,
when
I
this,
also press his record, and that's all I offer.
I'm glad we press record tonight.
Yeah, no joke. And had to press it again because we need to delete some stuff.
Oh, my bad. Blue Raz is a close second for me, though. When this came out, very good.
Yeah, this came out around the time of the mustard.
You're correct.
Yeah. All right. Josh was
Caught
with
that.
with question 1. So we've got a lot of folks who have sent in questions over the course of the last, like, 24 hours.
We're not going to be able to get to all of them
No,
in
no,
this
we're not.
episode, but maybe when the other guys are back, we will
Yeah,
do a part 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll start with some of this. We're gonna start with this. Jacob BJJ Preacher.
Okay.
What does it look like to raise your child in the fear and admonition of the Lord? What does family worship look like?
Well, the short version is you have. Oh, I'm just gonna say from
Are
my
they
perspective.
asking what yours is or what you think it should be?
I think it's like everybody,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So you're just going to answer collectively on what it should be.
based on what I know and what I would do.
Yeah.
I feel like he's asking you what yours is.
Yeah,
looking
let's
like
go.
right
Yeah,
now.
let's go with what
This is
yeah,
personal.
I'm gonna
what
answer
yours-
for myself
what yours
anyway.
is.
Oh,
That's
okay,
the
for
only
sure.
perspective I have.
Because this was framed as
Because my
Getting
kid
to know
is terrible at family worship.
I bet he is.
He's just he's his attention span is bad.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know any of the lyrics to any of the songs.
Yeah.
He mostly just says banana and snacks and fig bar.
He sounds like me.
Yeah.
I know the songs,
Y'all have
though.
very similar vocabulary limitations, Josh.
I know the songs, though. I can sing the songs. Carry on, Isaac.
So I think, I mean, not I think. How I would execute that, or how I do execute that, is I know that first and foremost I have to model that. So I can't like teach him something that I'm not doing or don't show outwardly.
Yeah.
So just some practical ways. And again, I'm gonna refer people to this book. Matt Chandler has a book called Family Discipleship. That was a blessing to me. There's some it's very hard when people say, when it's like, okay, yeah, I know I need to lead my family. I know I need to love my wife and love my kids and steer them toward the word, but I don't know how to actually do that. Like, give me some actual steps I could start tonight when I get home, you know? And so that book is full of those things, which is awesome. It's really unique in that way. But one of the things is I give my son an opportunity, he's 6, I give him an opportunity to pray over dinner every night. He loves to pray. Like, he will be like, Dad, he'll interrupt me. Dad, can I pray? Yeah, he'll ask me if he can pray.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. And he, my kids are starting to get that point where they'll be like, if someone's sick, they'll want to pray for them.
That's pretty cool.
So anyway, what I'm saying is, you have to teach them scripture. That's another thing, but mostly it's you living your life in a way that they pick up on without you having to tell them things.
Right.
So I'm not just like preaching to my son. I'm actually living it out, and then that's how he's being. He sees the reverence and the fear, the good fear of the Lord that I have, and I'm hoping that I see him emulating that little by little. So that's
Right.
my answer.
Yeah, I will say, like, as much as I joke about, the fact that my he's just turning 18 months old at the end of this week. So there are a lot of things that he doesn't get, but he'll stop in the middle of a meal and he'll grab mine and Kirsten's hand and go, "Thank you, Jesus," and then he'll just let go.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Like it's really it's cute,
emulating.
and like as soon as like if he grabs our hands or like reaches for our hands and we don't give them to him, then he will just look at us and he'll just start saying, "Mama, Dada, like, hey, it's time to
Come
thank-
Come on, we know what
yeah,
we're doing.
it's time to thank Jesus for our food again." So I think dinner earlier this week, we thanked Jesus for our food like 7 or 8 times as we got through the meal. And it's not it's one of those things that now is like, yeah, it's partially cute, but also like we're not going to discourage that at any point.
Well, and
right now.
my kids, I agree with all of that. My kids are in like a phase now where we have to like take turns because they pray, but when it's dinner time, I want them to pray out loud for everybody. And now it's that, like, I don't know, that they do it, but they're all going through that. Oh, it's Jared's turn. Oh, it's no, it's your turn. Let's pray. And then they'll do it, but it's almost like a slight embarrassment time. But
how do we, to piggyback off this question, how do we instill in our families, right? Because I know we've both had instances where our wives have felt awkward praying in front of other people, right? Especially when they were newly wed to us.
Yes.
We have had long experiences in ministry. They're new to ministry, right? And so now they're in a circle with a bunch of other ministers and a bunch of other ministers' wives. And now they're being called on to pray. And now it's like, oh my gosh, like the spotlight's being shown on me. But I think it's the same thing for kids. And in a lot of that there is this awkwardness to it. How do we teach our children? How do we lead in such a way and disciple people in such a way that they realize that prayer is actually a privilege? It's something that we get to do, not something that we have to do. Because if you were to think about it in the terms of like, all right, God is the Almighty. He is the sovereign over everything. We have the opportunity to approach His throne and to ask for whatever. If we got to do that with the president or, the King of England or heck, even with the governor of the state, if they're like, hey, you can go up to them and you can ask him for whatever you want and he's going to listen to you for 5 minutes. We would tell people about that all the time. We'd be so stoked that we had that opportunity or that they had that desire to talk to us. Even if we messed it up, right? Even if we were shy or whatever, we would be so excited about it. How do we take that same type of enthusiasm and transfer it to our families, to the people that we're discipling whenever it comes to prayer?
I think that goes back to what Isaac said, and that's lead by example. Because
Yeah.
if you don't act like it's anything important to you, they're definitely not.
For sure.
That's what I was gonna say. That
Yeah.
it's you're right. It starts with you in the way that you model prayer and the importance that you put on it. I try. It's kind of hard right now, just at this age, 'cause my kids are so young. Selah is like either it's 50-50 if she's going to be like closing her eyes and being quiet through the prayer, or opening her eyes and talking and trying to bother Ezekiel while he's praying or I'm praying.
I think though, for me, like even my kids, 14, 11, and 7, like them seeing me pray. And lots of things, not just prayer, but as far as raising them, like they see the ministry that we do. And I gave my testimony at the last Jiu-Jitsu. They hear that, they see that. But as far as prayer goes, I haven't put them in a box. So, and I don't know if that's right or wrong, because sometimes they'll have a thoughtful prayer, and sometimes it's a just super fast, I'm ready to eat type prayer. And I just want them comfortable praying. So I never you bow your head, you close your eyes. No, you do it again. I've never made it like a structured thing. It's just hey, talk to him.
I think that's the right way to go.
And it's just and you kind of get that. Like sometimes it's something kind of goofy, but I don't think they mean it goofy. They're not trying to be irreverent or anything.
No.
They're kids. I think sometimes we put too much. I think there should be a reverence, but as kids, like I don't think they need like that much structure. Me personally, put into it, because they should be comfortable. Talking to God.
But then again, when you pray, like they do, just you kind of start hearing. I start hearing my son, or both of them saying stuff that I say. I'm like, that's cool. I mean, it could not be cool, but I'm thankful that what they're picking up on is stuff I want them to.
Right.
So,
All right. Question number 2. What is the best advice you could give a first-time competitor? This is from Emily, I think it's Canone.
Emily Canone.
First time competitor. Go ahead, Josh.
Yep.
So first thing, don't eat a cheeseburger before you compete because
Ooh,
I
yeah,
did
that
that.
seems like-
I did that at my
seems like
first
good advice.
competition. We traveled.
I gotta hear this later.
I was a white belt. I finally was ready to compete. We did a Naga. There weren't a lot of tournaments in Memphis, so you pretty much were going to travel wherever you went.
Right.
So we went to Nashville. That's 3.5 hours from Memphis for this Naga. And I was on weight, feeling good, properly fueled. And then, like, all the kids went first. I'm sitting in this place all day long to the point I'm feeling faint. Like, careful not. And then finally I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I'm going to get something
When
to
did you
eat.
weigh in?
When I got there.
Okay. Yeah.
Some have night before weigh-ins, but obviously I wasn't driving to Nashville the night before for a Naga tournament.
Right.
I don't know, I might have, but no, I didn't. So I ate a cheeseburger, and within an hour, it was my turn. So that was poor planning. This was just a mess all around, though. So it was just like instant cramp city.
Oh no! All the blood was in your gut.
I guess that
processing the
goes to
cheeseburger.
the real advice to that question. For me,
Yeah.
listen to your coaches. So my very first tournament was that Naga. Yes, I had a cheeseburger in my gut that was not wise. Somehow I was up on points, like a good amount, like 12-5 or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm not very good on the point system, even still.
You were just doing jiu-jitsu and
I was
looking
doing,
over and
but
points are adding
one
up.
of my coaches was there, and I was on top. There was not a lot of time left. I'm up by 7 points, and it's you're trying to win the medal for your school. Like,
Yeah.
I get it. Just hold what you got at that point. You've out jiu-jitsu'd them, and I could hear them like, just hold what you got, and that just felt wrong. And so I went for like a risky submission, ended up getting my back taken and choked out. So I ended up tapping.
No.
It's funny, but it's like your coaches can see way more than you can see too.
Bro.
So
I will say, yes, you're totally right, and I totally agree. But respect for not wanting to just, that's kind of lame. It's like running the clock out,
it is. But now that I'm older, I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 10 years. Like, this isn't a fight. This is a sports tournament for jiu-jitsu. Like, you're trying to win for your
I
school
think that's
and
the
represent
right
your
answer.
school.
I'm just saying, I got to give you some credit.
As
for,
a young white belt, not young, but as a newer, a year-in white belt, that was my mode.
Yep.
So my real advice, it is don't eat a cheeseburger. I don't know if Emily was going to suffer from that, but let's just get out ahead of it.
Yep.
Listen to your coaches. And really, everybody says this, but it's true. Just, you do jiu-jitsu how many days a week with killers in your gym? Like, I know you're going to have that adrenaline dump, but just be ready for it and stay as loose as possible. Don't overthink it. Jiu-jitsu is jiu-jitsu. It doesn't
Change
matter
just
if you're
'cause it's
at
in
the
a different
term or not.
place.
Now,
You're
your
right.
brain's going to be telling you different stuff. The adrenaline dump is real, but just roll with it.
That's all great, really great advice. I'm going to pass along some advice that Stephan Banta gave to me, and my buddy Stephan Banta.
I've heard of her.
Incredible world champion and European no-gi champion, and just a total stud.
Most decorated brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu history.
That's right.
Yep.
He told me, he said, I called him, and it was like my first blue belt tournament, and I was talking to him about, I was like, bro, I'm so nervous. Like, how do you avoid getting this nervous, And he said, dude, who was at the time, he's like, Masters 1 blue belt ultra heavy world champion this past year. I was like, I don't know.
No clue.
He's like, that's the highest award that you could win in your division, and you don't even know who that person is. So I'm telling you this like in love, so that you can know that, so you can feel comfort. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
And I was like, oh, actually, instead of it diminishing like the weight of my competition, it was like, oh man, that's so comforting. No, literally nobody cares. You could lose.
Yeah.
You could lose on Saturday, on Monday, you're going to go to work. Your coworkers won't even have a clue what happened unless you tell them about it.
Your teammates in the gym are just going to go back to rolling, making you better.
Yeah, they're going to say, what happened to your tournament? Oh, man, I lost. Oh, that sucks. Oh, it's all right.
Let's
Next time,
train.
Let's train.
Let's keep going.
Yeah, nobody cares. And for me, that was really freeing because it was like I put so much weight on my competition and on my ability to perform and whatever. And like my reputation is like all based on my competition. So that just hypes it up so much to an unhealthy place where you're just like, oh, it's life or death. And you're like, is it life or death? Or did you just pay $120 to compete in a local tournament that no one's going to have a clue about next week, you know?
Well, even if it's IBJJF.
Like, oh, yeah. I'm saying even that.
Yeah.
It's local.
But,
like, I mean, it's a Dallas Open or whatever. Cool.
Right.
I mean, I see people that win Dallas.
Well, and the
Open,
fact
cool.
is too, like for me, and at our gym, Mark France, he said the same thing, I think. But like, I went through quite a few tournaments because I competed a decent amount at white and blue belt. I went through quite a few where I lost or got a win and got third, or got 2 wins and got set. Like I didn't get gold. As a white belt for a while, and then I got to blue belt, and guess what? I started getting beat at tournaments some more. Like if you stacked up all of my wins and losses, I have way more tournament losses than I do wins and gold medals.
But the even if you're like a really high, like you're really advanced, you're way far into it. Like you ask those guys, like I talked to Formiga the other day, I was asking him about that. He was just like, man, it's we just go out and compete. It's like this is a lifestyle. It's like we do so many tournaments, Obviously at that level, things matter. Right. There's more eyes on you and stuff. But literally, if you're anything below some multiple time world champion where people are like tuning in, they're subscribing to Flow Grappling to watch your matches. Right. Mm-hmm. Anything less than that, it's like just go compete, have fun, do your best.
Take it seriously. But
and what I mean by have fun, I mean like just don't think it's the end of the world if you lose. Go out and try to win, do your best. But yeah, nobody cares. In the best way possible, nobody cares.
That's a positive message.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've never done a jiu-jitsu competition, but I've competed in a lot of other athletic events and a lot of individual events. And I would say that there's 3 things that, especially when people ask me like across the board, like what are the 3 things you do? The very first thing that I'll say is thing number 3, and it's learn how to yawn. Right? If you can learn to force yourself to yawn, you can avoid the adrenaline dump because it resets your nervous system.
I would like,
right?
It's good to know.
10 years in, never knew that.
Yeah, so before you get on the mat, right? So this is a trick that a lot of Olympians use. I found out about it from a book called With Winning in Mind that was written by an Olympian. He's an Olympic coach. His name's Lanny Basham. And so the very first thing to do is to learn how to force yourself to yawn. And then you can avoid the adrenaline dump. It completely resets your nervous system, and it helps you to, especially like as you're getting ready to go. So that's it. Learn to force yourself to yawn. But that is thing number 3 on the list. We'll go in reverse order. Thing number 2 is to develop a mental program, right? Like do the same things every time before you get on the mat. Yeah. So when you see guys who are elite level powerlifters or strongman competitors that go and deadlift, right? That you'll see them, they'll go through their mental routine. They put their feet in the same spot. They bend their knees. They bring the bar to their legs. They flex their knees out. They'll pull their hips up. They'll squat down, and then they'll do the pull. Like they're running their mental routine so that everything is the same. Though the same thing happens with Olympic shooters, and the same thing happens with major league batters, with golfers. You see all these people run this mental program, and so it gets them in the right headspace whenever they're getting into competition. So whatever that is for you, you need to figure that out. So that mental program can be, that whenever I am getting ready for a roll, and rehearse it whenever you're doing your flow rolls, right? And whenever you're doing your, just your rolls with the people that are at your gym, right? That whenever I do my rolls, I'm going to walk off at the end of time. I'm walking off the mat. And then right before time starts, I'm going to bend over. I'm going to touch my toes, and then, do a front roll onto the mat. Or I'm going to come down. I'm going to tap the mat twice. And that is what's going to continue. These little things like this, as you start to run these mental programs, get your mind and body prepared for what's about to happen. Yep. And you start to create these habits, which begin these linkages in the neural pathways in your brain that let your body and your brain know, hey, I'm about to compete in jiu-jitsu. And so start to do whatever that is in the mental program. And the very first thing, and this is the most important thing, is to journal your roles. So right when you get done with a training session, even if you've got 5 minutes, if you've got 10 minutes, if you've got 25 minutes, right? Have a little notebook and journal about your roles. What are the things that you did well, right? Start with the things that you did well. And instead of thinking like, hey, these are the things that I sucked at, what are the things that you did well? What are the things that you need to improve on, right? And then what are the things that you submitted to? And then list them in that order. And then the very last thing that you do, because you want to give a positive impression of your self-image, right? Like that has to be something that happens continually whenever you're preparing for competition. Is you want whatever the last thing that you write in this journal is to be a positive impression of your self-image. Is what did I do today that got me closer to my goal? Okay, so that you're looking at something that you did today that has strategic impact. So anytime that I'm dealing with competitors, when I'm coaching competitors, when I was personal training and getting people ready for competitions, we would work on these 3 things. And you would be just stunned as how like those 3 things done consistently. Okay, so I'm journaling about my roles. I'm doing something small that helps me to like get ready, that I'm running my mental program. And the same way that, the hand slap and the fist bump is kind of like what begins a role for a lot of us. Well, do something for yourself first, then the hand slap and the fist bump, and that's what gets you into it. And then figure out how to yawn, because even if you're stalling, right? Like you're in turtle position, like, hey, this person is attacking me. I'm in a bad spot. And all of those things are starting to happen. Like if you can force yourself to yawn, even in that moment when you're tucked away, your nervous system is going to reset, and it's going to help your brain to reset. You're going to have kind of like a mental wipe and be able to start over. So all of those things are things that we encourage competitors to do just kind of across the board. They all come out of the mental management system, and those guys have been training champions in shooting sports, in gymnastics, in MMA, in figure skating, in professional baseball, and in golf, and all kinds of sports just across the board. And those are the top 3 things that we tell competitors whenever they go into their competition. So
that's great.
Yep.
It's funny. I do realize that I do some things like when I train. I realize I do some things before every single round, like little things. Fix my gi.
Right.
Pull. I just thinking about it right now when you were talking about that, pulling my lapels like through the belt just to tighten it down.
Yep.
And then covering out my chest, like so slap bump with one hand covering my chest so that I can keep people from grabbing my lapels. But I do it almost like without thinking. I'm not like, oh, this guy's going to grab my lapels. I just kind of do that no matter what happens.
Yeah, if you make it a conscious part of your routine, it actually starts to change the way that you approach all of that stuff. So if you're noticing that you're doing that, then think about it. Hey, you know what? Okay, so I'm on the mat. I'm getting ready to roll. I'm going to cover my lapels, right? Yeah. I grab it, and we slap, bump. Yep. Now it's time to go. And count the steps as you're doing it. Like, this is the first thing I do. This is the second thing I do. And then your brain and your body start to engage in a different way. Your subconscious mind is now, like, able to take over in a way that it wasn't before.
That's awesome.
Yep. So those would be some things that I would check out. All right, question number 4 from Grappling Dude. What is your favorite verse?
Sup, Grappling Dude?
Grappling Dude.
We're gonna start with Isaac because Jarsh.
My favorite verse.
Jarshy Poo started us.
Favorite verse. There's a lot of them. Okay, but most recently, so I'll just say my favorite verse right now, Ephesians 4, verses 1 through 3. Therefore, I, the prisoner in the Lord, urge you to live worthy of the calling you have received, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, making every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. You can keep reading about unity there within the body of Christ, like after that verse. But because unity for me, and we've had a million conversations, us, Stephen, this past weekend, JP, and like a bunch of people at Pursuit, we talked about unity. But because it's been such a important thing, I've been exploring unity in the body of Christ, reconciling denominational differences for the purpose of glorifying God in our unity, and not just saying like, I can't associate with you because you have a weird belief about this secondary issue. That's because that's been such an important piece of my study lately.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that's my favorite verse right now.
Yeah, I dig it.
Nice.
What you got, Josh?
I'm going to go with 1 Corinthians 10:13. There hath no temptation taken you but such as is common to man, but God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it.
I like that.
Little bit of hope in there when you're
Yes.
going through it.
Yep. And you always hear, "Oh, God never gives you more than you can handle."
I was gonna say, yeah, this is a misquoted verse often.
Right.
Yeah, God won't give you more than you can handle. He doesn't allow you to be tempted beyond what you're able.
Right.
Is way different. And what's funny about that to me is like when we were talking about this when we talked about the book of James, was James said that we're tempted by our own evil desires, right? And that he won't allow you to be tempted beyond what you're able. And so much of that just comes from yourself.
Right.
That God prevents you from being the one that causes your own demise in so many
And he'll
situations.
give you a way out of it.
Yeah, right? Like, oh, Lord, will you please help me escape myself? And he's like, oh, yeah, no, this is is probably the thing I am most actively doing in your life is
Right.
trying to keep you from hurting yourself.
Yeah, because you keep doing it.
Yep.
That's
it's-
great.
That's wild. Mine is Philippians 1:6, and it has been for a while. I'm sure of this, that he who started a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. Just the idea that I'm promised that anything that God started in me, that he's going to finish, and that because of that, I can put my hope in something other than myself and my own capabilities.
Yep.
That, like, he did it. And no matter what I'm going through, that there is a purpose for this, that it's going to make me more like Christ, and that there's a work that he is completing through me. Just gives me the confidence to keep pushing through, especially when I make mistakes.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a beautiful reminder. That's a perspective I haven't really thought of. I think I know it. Like if you asked me to dig down deep, but I haven't really thought about that before.
Right.
That you can have confidence in knowing the thing that he started in you, he will finish, not you. It's not, because if it's up to you, it's like an overwhelming thing.
Yeah. Oh, for
I'm
sure.
kind of at that crossroads right now, and I'll just say it in front of everybody, but specifically about discipleship stuff with Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu, because I see a need for it. I know it's something we've all talked about that we want for everyone. People are reaching out. They want that. I want to do it right. I just don't know the avenue to go down, and I want to honor God with it and all that. But
That's why we're not going to rush and push it out.
yeah, right. But the cool thing is, in addition to that, I think what that brings me comfort, because it's like, well, God gave me this passion and has set me on the path to do something about that. But as if I get stressed out or overwhelmed, it's like comforting to go, you know what? This isn't even me. Like, it's not up to me to completely do this. Yes, I'm doing the legwork, but God is going to see this through because he started it. That's comforting.
Right on.
Yep. All right. Question number 5 from Dalton_Trimble. Do you guys think anyone who trains jiu-jitsu should at least compete one time? I feel like I've constantly heard that throughout the community.
Yes, next question.
Okay.
Yeah. What's up, Dalton?
What's up, Dalton?
Yep. At least once at each belt. It's smart. It's just to.
Are there some schools that like require that you compete once at each belt before you can rank up?
I'm going to go on a limb. This is my personal preference, but if your school forces you to compete, I don't like it.
No, because
Find another school.
There's many hobbyists out there that are like, look, this is not for sport jiu-jitsu. I'm doing it for my own health and cardio and confidence, and yeah.
But the dichotomy of that is, I think you should.
I think you should too. I only competed once,
but
at
I don't
purple
think
belt,
your coach should be able to make you.
and I think I'm close to the end of purple belt, but I did one competition.
I'm right at the beginning of purple belt.
Yeah,
So
I
you
see.
goofball.
I think I see both sides of it, right? Because there is something to, like, yes, you're a hobbyist, you're doing those kinds of things, but the school that you represent and that you go to, I think they have that your professors have a certain level of accountability to you to make sure that you're testing yourselves against somebody other than the guys that you're completely familiar with.
I agree, but that's different than, hey, I'm making you go do this. What are you gonna do? I can't train here anymore.
Yeah, I'm a paying customer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the
Your logic is right.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think that should definitely be encouraged, and I see on the one hand like the wisdom behind it, right? Because like as a church, when we ordain somebody, we're saying that like, hey, wherever you go, right? Then if we're ordaining or licensing them or whatever, we're saying that like whatever you preach, wherever you go, whatever you say and do. We are backing that. We are putting the name and the reputation of our church behind you, so that if you were to go preach somewhere and do or say something heretical, and they're like, then they call us and say, hey, look, this is not good. And I think it's the same thing with those types of things, that like if you're a purple belt or a brown belt, then you're going to another school and competing, and or not competing, but going to another school and like rolling and hanging out, then. I've heard of this in the community where they're calling it. They're saying, "Hey, listen, your guy's over here, and like he's struggling with some things. We don't want to be out of line with whatever." So I do get the wisdom within that, but I think I'm with you. Like the forcing somebody's hand to do it versus like encouraging them and letting them know, like, "Hey, this is a really healthy thing that you should do," because at least once you're at every belt rank for at least a year or two, right?
Yeah.
Testing yourself against other people at that same rank outside of your school in a competitive situation will at least let you know, like, hey, you know what? I am or I'm not ready to go to that next level.
Yeah.
I think even sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think Formiga does it great, and all the coaches there. Also, he allows cross-training.
That's where I was going.
So we get lots of looks at different people all the time, which is, I think that's very important too. And even then, I still feel confident to say, like, yes, I think you should. I think you should personally want to test yourself. Formiga's never been like, you're going to go compete.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean he won't encourage you, like, hey, you thinking about doing this? You want to do World League or whatever. But it's not the posture of it is what's important to me on that. And I think that the other of forcing them to shows a different type of posture from the coach that I don't line up with.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Whether it is beneficial, because I can also say on the other hand, I believe in tough coaching and tough rounds. So
yes. I think the cross training piece is awesome, because I think you should absolutely. I'll take it away from competing. Like, yes, it would be smart to test yourself. That would be like a most ideal situation. Test yourself. You don't have to do it a million times, but just see where you're at. And I think everyone should experience the lead up to a competition where you're like focused, you're solving problems. It will help you grow faster in a short amount of time because you're like very focused,
that
very
process.
If you knew, I was talking to a guy today because I teach an 11 o'clock class on Tuesdays at my school, Rodriguez, and one of the white belts that's been there, he was asking me like, do I have to compete? And I was like, no, you don't have to compete at all. He's like, man, I'm just doing this just to stay in shape, and my son does it, and I just and I told him like, no, not at all. I said, but it is good. It is good for that. Like if you just want like a boost where you're gonna learn a ton really short. He's a pilot, flies commercial pilots. He's a Marine pilot before, and then he flies a bunch of commercial airlines. And I told him it's the same as like, can you imagine if you like, how much differently would you learn if you like, they're like, hey, listen, learn how to fly this simulator, but you're never actually gonna fly in a airplane. You're just gonna fly the simulator the whole time. Like, would you take it as seriously as if it's like, hey, in a couple months you're flying the simulator, but in a couple months you're gonna have 400 people in an airplane that you're in charge of landing? He'd be like, oh yeah, dude. I mean, that thing could, it could explode.
Yeah.
The door could rip off.
Yeah.
Right.
So
there's serious risk.
Yeah. So the same attention applies. Like when you're competing, you're like, man, I need to soak all this up because I'm gonna have to use some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Also, I think everybody should experience a weight cut at least once too.
yeah. Well,
Dig
I'm
into some
ultra heavy,
discipline.
and I'm at least 50 pounds away from the next weight class, so not happening. But I did lose. I have lost weight for every tournament just to get myself into like the most ideal
better shape.
feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I cut weight to get out of ultra heavy.
Well, you're right there close to that line, so it's
Right.
easy.
But I cut once. I posted a picture maybe in our group. I don't know if Lucas was in it, but
Oh, yeah.
Probably not. You guys kick me out of the group a lot. It sounds like.
I'll do better. But a buddy of mine got me to go intermediate in my no-gi rather than beginner. It was pretty early on, and he did it with me. He's a belt ahead of me, so he went advanced, I think is what they call it. But then we both cut weight. We were about the same size. We cut down to 179, and that was a large weight cut. Back then I was weighing like 190.
Yeah.
I don't know. 179 is a long way to go for my frame. So
Yeah,
it
for
was very. I'll never do it again.
For your robust frame.
But it was a good learning experience and the test of discipline leading up to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was 196 at Christmas, and I went into 177 about a week ago.
Nice.
So
Some people will just cut better than others.
no, bro, I was fat.
My last 5 would not come off for that weight cut. So,
But
I
I'm also
remember it.
I'm considerably smurfier than you are.
I can be pretty smurfy.
No, I'm talking like height wise. You can't
I'm
be.
tired of this conversation.
So all right,
Next question.
question number 6.
Somebody's going to lose their mind.
Yes.
What are the best ways you guys have found to prioritize and balance between family, work, fitness, and faith?
Man.
How do you find the time to fit it all in? From Ty Blank.
Ty Blank coming with the big guns.
Do you think that's actually his last name is Blank, or do you think he just wrote it because he doesn't want people to know
What's his
last
name? I think I just sent him a shirt or something.
Oh,
like
that
2
does
weeks
sound
ago.
familiar.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Thank you.
And that's
It came from Ty.
Thank you, Lucas and Ty.
Yep.
I would say that's something I'm still learning to do, honestly. But I've gotten better. Was it just everything basically? Training,
Family, work, fitness, and faith.
family, work, fitness, and faith. All of those. It's
The 4 F's. Family, work, fitness, and faith.
work's not an F.
F's.
Work's not an F. Being intentional with your time at home is what counts the most. You can fit all of those in, but you have to be intentional at home. And I've struggled with that. I know 2 years ago, I was traveling with EF on the FTX team, and then training, and then businesses, and then ministry, and then I would also want to go on, I started doing some gun training classes to travel to. So like the days in between those other days, I'd fill in with stuff for myself. And I'm not saying you can't do that, but at the time I was not being very intentional at home. And it didn't cause any problems then, but it was like hey, if we were not in alignment. So there's conversations to be had. I think when you're intentional with your time at home, that will buy you more time to do those other things. If your spouse, significant other, family is in alignment with whatever ministry. So like for me, JiuJitsu and JiuJitsu, when we have events, they come to the events. When we do podcasts, a lot of times we do podcasts not only around all of our crazy schedules, but we do it around like when my kids are in bed. So like right now we're recording at 10:50 at night.
Yep.
Because the families are in bed.
So you have to put a little bit on yourself, and you can't let your discipline slip just because you're up late with a podcast. But same thing with all those things. If I want to get a lift in, I'm probably going to do it either early in the morning or late at night after everything. That way you can fit everything. And sometimes you can't. Like right now, over Christmas, December, part of January, I was back to jiu-jitsu 2 times a week, sometimes 3 times a week, every week. And then now that the travel's picked back up, I haven't been in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to shift again. So
Yep.
The good news is this week, I thought I was going out of town Thursday, but I'm not till Friday. So I will be training Thursday.
Gonna get some jiu-jitsu?
Yeah. So
You going to the 6:30 in the morning class?
no, I'll go to the evening with Jake. That was my deal with him. He goes to the adult class now. So if I'm in town, I go to the Thursday night with him.
Right on. The beginner or the advanced?
Advanced.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's in the advanced.
I'm not going to the advanced class.
I think, you pretty much nailed it. I'll just, the points where I want to reiterate, I'll just say that I'm not I clearly am not doing a perfect job, and I have yet to meet a person that does it perfectly. There are people who do a lot of things better than I do. And there are people who are like really, really squared away in certain areas of their life, but it's just, you only have so many hours in the day. You only have so much health. You only have so much time and attention span and all these other things. And so it's like, you do have to prioritize. And like, for me, I'm still learning, man. But I feel like, I don't know if this is the right way to learn. I would rather this not be the case, but I kind of feel like, Trial and error. Yeah, for real, trial and error. And
It's
you
true.
just like, one thing will just like, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So it's like, man, okay, I'm gonna really focus on my training and my kids. Okay, cool. Well, you know, I didn't make as many work calls as I need to. Dang. Well, all right, I'm gonna start focusing on that. So when I do work calls and fitness, and then, you know, well, Kim's like, hey, we need to spend a little more time together. Dang. Okay. So, you know, but it's like constantly one of those things. And I just think if you have enough things in your life, there'll always be some version of that, which will exhaust you if you're not pulling from the source. Like, if you're not, so that's the one thing that absolutely cannot go by the wayside, is your time with God, because He fills you and sustains you to be able to pour into all the other areas of your life. So
Right. I agree.
yeah, I'm learning that, and I want to execute on that. This season of my life, I've done a little bit of better job with that. But man, it is a struggle. It's a daily decision. So
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think alignment's the key, right? Especially when it comes to your fitness piece of that, because so much of that is done on our own.
Right.
Right. Most folks do not have like a garage gym or something like that where they're doing it with their families. Or with their spouse. So we're going to the gym, and that trip to the gym is, I'm going to the gym and my wife is watching my kid, or, you know, she's going to get some exercise, and we're, you know, maybe we go for a walk as a family, and like that counts as my fitness for the day.
Yeah.
But figuring out what that looks like, one of the things that I found that's really interesting is, if you're trying to figure out how to fit it all in, right? Schedule your day backwards. Start at bedtime. What time am I going to go to bed? All right, well, I want to get up at 6:30 tomorrow morning, right? Or I want to get up at 6 tomorrow morning. I know I need 6 hours of sleep. I need to at least get, you know, to sleep by midnight. That probably means I need to be in the bed at 11. And so start with that, and then schedule the rest of your day backwards. It completely changes the way that you think about your day, and you will think more realistically about how much time it takes to do certain things, and you will naturally weed out some of the stuff that does not belong in your day.
that's
Right.
good.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
that's a
then
good
and then it helps you, like, okay, so I've got all of these things that I want to do. I know I need to be in bed at 11 o'clock. Well, in order to get all this stuff done, then that means I need to wake up at 6. And so, but now you know, I have to actually get out of bed at 6. I'm not going to hit that snooze. Or maybe you're like, you know what, in order to do all of this stuff and have my personal, you know, quiet time or time of devotion, whatever you want to call it, Stephen, then you look at that time and you're like, all right, if I want to do all this and spend a half hour of time, you know, like reading the word, making my coffee, just having some time with just me and the Lord, well, that means I need to be up at 5:30. Right. So
Honest self-assessment.
Yeah.
with
Right.
that.
So, okay. So if that's the case, I'm going to get in bed at 11. That means I need to be asleep by 11:30, not by midnight. And scheduling your day backwards gives you a much different look at what that time takes. So just try it as an exercise, and you'll
That's
learn
smart.
pretty
I've
quickly
never
what
tried
you
that.
think. Yeah.
I like that too. Yeah. I also have like it's hard to know when, like, okay, so be about it, right? Sometimes
yeah.
I take that very, very extreme where, like, no, I said I'm going to be at training at 6:30. I got 3 hours of sleep. I'm going to be there at 6:30.
Yeah.
That sounds cool, and I feel good about going and doing
Sometimes
what I
it's
said I'm going to
good.
do.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's then also when I'm wore down and now my immune system's not strong, and then I start getting sick, and then I miss 3 days of work or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I don't sleep the best, and that's why I've backed off of saying I'm going to come to 6:30, and I haven't been as often lately, because I know I have, as I've gotten older, also tried to prioritize my sleep in there, especially now that I've been traveling more with Echelon Front. Like, I don't know, that wears you out too, and so
Travel's tough on your body, man.
it really makes me aware of and the trips are so squared away. We're up pretty early, and going all out. So like you're saying, it's real easy for me to say, well, I'm just going to be about it and push through. But like you have to be smart because there are other areas that I need to focus on.
Yeah,
So
that you need to be about it too.
Yeah,
it's not
absolutely
just singularly focused.
I think there is something to the, once in a while, like I got undisciplined. I, got on a doom scroll and let the Black Mirror keep me up until 2 a.m. And so now I got, but I know I really need to get up, and that getting up and training, and that's kind of resetting that discipline so that you don't fall into like a cycle of slothfulness because of one or two bad decisions. I think there's something to that, but I'm with you just like in general. The idea of forcing ourselves to train when we know it's not good for us is just all in all unhealthy. I know, and Jocko said this a lot, and so this is something that like trickles down into the jiu-jitsu community because of the influence and stuff that he has there, but also into a lot of the leadership stuff that we look at and a lot of the leaders that we're around, because there's a lot of alignment there in the philosophy of it. Of the, like if I'm just not feeling going to the gym today, then today's probably the day that I need to go, and then if I'm not feeling it, or and then that'll kind of help me, right? But there's a difference between like not feeling it and deciding to go, or I got the sniffles and I'm making that as my excuse not to go to the gym.
You got to be real honest with yourself.
Yeah. Versus the, hey, I got 2 hours of sleep, and
I've got a trip coming up in 2 days where I'm leaving, and I'm going to be up at 4.
I know I'm going to spend all day, like we're taking the kids to the zoo, or tomorrow's the day that I've got some big meetings, or tomorrow's the day that I'm going to spend with my family. And you prioritize going to that 6:30 class because that's the thing you do. I got to be there, and then you ruin your family time.
Right.
You're not in a great mental space to go to those other things. That's the prioritize and execute piece that we've got to get together. Like jiu-jitsu, for most of us, it's not how we make our living.
No.
Like it may be one of those things that helps keep us mentally sharp and all of that stuff, but it can also be one of those things that we make an idol of.
Right.
And like when we get to that spot, it becomes not just tremendously unhealthy, but now all of a sudden it's detrimental to all of these other areas and facets of our lives. And so that you do have to do that honest self-evaluation, but you also need to look at like, hey, what am I doing today? And you know what? If I'm not leading this class, like I'm just going to text the professor and say, hey, listen, had a rough night, didn't get to bed until 2:30, 3 o'clock. It's my own fault, but we've got a day planned with the kids, and I'm not giving up, my time with them. I'm not going to put myself in a position to where that time has the potential to be ruined just because I want to get up and train. So I'm going to miss today, and I'm sorry, but I'll be back, Thursday or Tuesday.
Especially if you're being real with yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's the point there. Like, there have been times where I've said I'm going to go to 6:30, get terrible sleep, and like I think I've been awake at the time and texted you guys and been like, I'm going back to sleep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The dichotomy of that is that doesn't mean I don't do something hard throughout the day. I didn't make jiu-jitsu that morning, but okay, well I wasn't planning to lift today, but we're gonna lift tonight.
Right.
Rest,
I'm gonna
and then I'm gonna lift.
Yeah. And there's something to be said about intentional rest too.
Dude,
I agree.
Right?
That's for some people. That's the hard thing to do.
That's hard for me.
Like, it's funny
I
because
hate
you're
it.
like, I do hard things. Well, then why don't you do the hard thing of getting 8 hours of sleep? You know what I mean? Like,
I only need 5. But no, I mean like that. But that's the quick cop out excuse.
Oh,
because
yeah,
I only
yeah.
need 5.
Yeah.
Well, when I have 8 hours of sleep, but I only need 5.
No, you're gonna be you want to not perform your best. I'm saying because sleep gets the worst of it because it's like it's just I'm laying down and I'm comfortable. Then that's not a hardcore thing to do. It's like, yeah, I get it, but like
all the time.
it's like, yeah, but do you? I mean, how do you sharpen the axe? Like, you're just dull. Like you're chopping hard, but you're dull.
And even a rest day doesn't mean you don't get to do something. Do some
Yeah.
mobility.
You go for a walk or something.
Walk with the family.
Yeah.
Walk the
Go
dogs.
fish, right?
Yeah.
Like enjoy something. So
Go to the shooting range.
I turned the corner on sleep a couple of years ago, and I'd been meeting with a neurologist because I was having terrible migraines, and I have had I'm 38, so going on like 26 years now. They started when I was like 11 or 12. That's great for if you're not watching on YouTube, you'll have no idea what that noise was. So go check the timestamp on it and go find it on our YouTube channel. You can see what Isaac just did. He made a wonderful sculpture.
For our sponsor.
Ode to Jocko. So one of the things that my neurologist was telling me is that there's these new studies that are coming out about the way your brain works, and that like the rest of your body has a lymphatic system to try to get rid of like the extra stuff and kind of the trash and stuff that's in your body. Your lymph nodes sort of help get it out. There's more to it than that, but that's a very simplified version of it. Your neural pathways don't have that. Right? So all of this stuff like protein deposits, things like that get caught up in your neural pathways in your brain. The only time where that gets flushed is during sleep.
Yes, I heard Huberman talking
And
about
so
this.
like
the Huberman guy.
Yeah. So if you're not sleeping, if you're not being intentional about getting sleep, and I'm not talking about like a nap, I'm talking like full REM cycle sleep, not just something to kind of recharge the battery so you're ready to go, then those pathways never actually get cleared out, and you're damaging your overall long-term and short-term brain function, and you're making yourself more susceptible to like the type of issues that elderly neurological patients deal with, whether it's dementia, whether it's Alzheimer's, or other things like that. And so when I started to look at that research, because I was a 5 hours of sleep guy all the time. And now I still, like, if I get 5 hours of sleep, I'm good to go. But I'm noticing that, like, if I get 6, I'm actually, like, I feel the same as if I get 5. And if that extra hour of sleep is going to, you know, throughout the course of the next few years of my life, if I'm intentional about doing that, if that's going to give me another year with my kids, or if that's going to mean that I recognize my grandkids for 6 more months whenever they come, right, then no amount of my ego is going to give me that time back. And it's just, at the end of the day, man, it's selfish and it's prideful not to take a look at some of those things. And it drives me freaking nuts because I hate it. And I hate everything about what I'm saying right now. But that's the truth, is that if that's the case and that's the mindset that you have, then the problem is with you. You're the jerk. You're the idiot. You're the person who is going to be the reason that your family's in tears because you didn't get enough sleep. And whenever they walk in, they don't know who you are. So if you don't want your daughter or your grandkids crying about it, get freaking an extra hour of sleep.
Boom, mic drop.
All right, I'm off my soapbox.
Boom roasted.
A little bit of prioritize and execute in that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
bullet points for Ty Blank: be intentional.
Yep.
Prioritize and execute.
Yep.
Honest self-assessment.
Yep. And get enough sleep.
And get enough sleep.
And if Blank's your real name, that's kind of awesome.
I think it is. So one thing I'll add to that, and this could be a can of worms. We'll move on quickly to the next question. I think that on the note of what Lucas was just saying, like part of prioritizing also, people are like I said, I barely mentioned it, but I was like, oh yeah, sleep's not hardcore, so they don't prioritize it. Neither is like, and I don't struggle with this. I actually enjoy having conversations with my wife, but some guys are like, oh, I just can't like listen to my wife talk. You know, it's like, which is sad. But like that's a really important thing. Like
sounds
you
like
want
something you probably should start pouring into.
Yeah.
You want to be you want to be like, that's hardcore. Like be extreme there. Be extreme in loving your kids. Be extreme in prioritizing, listening to making time for your wife to talk to you and catch up about things you need to do. And it's not all like jiu-jitsu and weightlifting and like, you know, shooting guns and stuff. That's cool stuff that you should at times prioritize. But like the real hardcore stuff is being a good dad and like, you know.
Like what are the 4 elements of good relationships, right? It's trust, listen, respect, and influence. And if you're not listening, right, then I deal with marital and premarital counseling, when this is one of the things that comes up is like, well, you know, I say this and she doesn't pay attention, she doesn't respect me, blah blah blah, and we always go back to how much are you listening to her whenever she talks? Do you have any idea what she did? Like, all right, men want respect and loyalty, right? And women want love and security. Okay, so part of security means that they feel like they're being heard whenever they talk to you. Right? Otherwise, they don't feel secure because they don't know whether or not you understand what they're saying, where they're coming from, or anything like that. And if you're wondering why your wife doesn't respect you, or why it seems like she's not respecting your wishes or the things you want, or that, whatever. Do exactly what Josh has said multiple times, is do an honest self-assessment. Be like, hey, you know what? When's the last time I put my phone down, looked my wife in the eyes, and listened to what she had to say? When's the last time that, like, when she went to say something or wanted to talk to me, that I, like, put my hand on her hand, or, put my hand on her leg, or put my arm around her whenever she was talking, and, like, made an intentional connection with her that lets her know, hey, I give a crap about what you're saying to me right now.
Sounds
and if
familiar.
you can't think of when that was, right, then I think you got a pretty good indicator about why you're losing respect in your relationship.
So you're saying in order to influence people, I have to have a relationship with them?
Yeah, for sure.
Relationships
thing
are
number
paramount.
one.
You just read that?
No, all of that to be said, no matter how well you plan, guess what? Sometimes it's going to get blown up, and you're going to have to adapt and change it too. So being able to is also important. So just keep that in the back of your mind. I mean, you could have it all squared away with your plan, and I'm planning to spend time with you at the end of the week, and I'm going to go train here and there, and you're going to get that, hey, I need to talk to you now.
Yeah.
You should be fluid with that, in my opinion.
Everybody has a
100%.
plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Thank you, Iron Mike. So typically we do some kind of scripture throughout this. You guys asked what our favorite scriptures were. We covered all of those, and we're going to wrap with question number 7, and this comes from Jennifer. This is the final question, and it is this: what is it like knowing the Isaac Tauaefa?
Man,
No.
Jennifer, that name sounds familiar.
It does. It does. It rings a bell,
Rings a bell.
right?
Have
Yeah.
I only know one Jen. She's really cool.
Really cool. Well,
And are you still thinking she's really cool after she sent this question in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I'm actually, she's so cool. I'm wondering if the question's actually kind of cool. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
I think the question
question's-
is bustin', like the kids say
bustin',
today.
as the kids say.
Bustin'.
The kids are busting.
Yep.
That is an actual question.
Your
Bonnie
cousin
just
brought back
cringed.
Yeet.
His cousin
Yeah,
did?
his cousin, yeah.
Oh, I don't use that one.
Jey Uso started saying Yeet. Jey Uso.
Here's
His
the
cousin was
receipt if
Roman.
you want to know.
Oh,
She
yeah,
actually
yeah, yeah,
did.
yeah.
She
Yeah,
actually
she
did
did
send
that.
the question.
Yep.
Shout out, Jen.
What's it
Thank
like
you, Jen.
being
But
Yeah, so what's
I
it like
don't-
being friends
don't
with
do
the
that.
Isaac Tauaefa? Why don't you
Don't
start
do
us?
that.
You want me to
Stop
start?
Yeah, I
that.
want you to start, yeah.
Okay.
No, don't do that. Don't rap on this question. This is a waste of airtime.
The
Can you edit this out?
can you no?
I can't.
You want to
No, I
edit
have no power on
Jen
this.
out?
No.
That's what I heard.
That's disrespectful. And what did we just talk about?
Right? You need to change
Yeah.
your Instagram to the Isaac Tauaefa.
Or Isaac Tauaefa.
I don't know why my Instagram handle used to be like Isaac Tauaefa, and I thought it would make it easier on everybody if I made it I Tauaefa. The last name's what they have a hard time with.
Yeah.
That's how stupid
Just
that
add
is.
an extra vowel.
Yep.
You should make it the Isaac Tauaefa.
Yeah.
Actual.
It'll take.
So, yeah, the Isaac Tauaefa actual.
I so want to change that back.
Blue
but
check implied.
Everything will. The matrix will crumble again, and everybody will be like, "Is this really you?"
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's why I've left it there.
You got people asking
Yeah.
if your account's really you. Wow,
After I got.
that's crazy. So you're elevated. You've gone to
Answer
such a
the
status.
question.
We're talking
Answer the
about
question. Yeah.
popularity.
The
Okay.
Isaac Tauaefa.
the Isaac
Wow.
Tauaefa.
Incredible.
I could take this so many ways. I could take
know.
it so many ways.
Just roast fest. Boom, roasted.
Boom roasted. It's really great. I'm just gonna be honest right now. I know a lot of people understand the level of anger he brings out of me. He does it on purpose. Admittedly.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Most of the time you just see my reaction and you don't see what he's actually doing. But he's laughing right now because he knows that's true.
Yep.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, and he's laughing and lying.
Gaslighting
Like
and
the
lying.
four
L's.
on it.
The-
Yeah, the four
The four
L's.
L's. Laughing and lying and work and fitness.
Can I say something? I want to say, just give the people an example of this
Okay.
pursuit recently.
Yeah.
Completely nonverbal. Not even talking to Josh. Josh is like 15 or 20 feet away from me. And I have my hoodie, and I put my hoodie like halfway on me, put my hood over my head. and the rest of it wasn't on my body, but I like
Right.
put my hands inside of the pockets and I'm like stretching
In your
it
own
out.
hoodie, not
Yeah,
in,
in
not
his
in
own
Josh's
No,
hoodie.
my hoodie.
his
I'm
own
like
hoodie.
putting my hands inside the hand part, you know.
Yeah,
And it's just like resting right here.
It's
by my
wrapped
chest.
around his head.
It's wrapped all around my head. The sleeves are wrapped around my head, and the pockets like way up here by my chest.
yeah, the warming pouch.
Just looking, I know it looks stupid, and so I just like I pull it, and I can feel him looking at me from across the room, and I just gave that like smile, like I don't know what's going on, and I look across the room really slow, and he's like mouthing like, oh, I want to punch you so bad. I want to slap your eyebrows off your forehead.
But his
just-
intent behind it was to irritate me.
yeah, what's
That's
the-
exactly
yeah.
right.
Like
Yeah.
it's true.
Oh,
But
man.
nobody sees that. They
No,
just see
no.
Josh
No.
bullying Isaac.
Yeah,
No, it's an honor being a friend with the Isaac Tauaefa in ministry, doing jiu-jitsu, friendship, humor. He's hilarious. Some of the things we say.
if y'all only know what we have to edit out.
Oh man.
If you only knew.
We, not just me.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he. I'm not gonna say.
No,
Go,
yeah,
you
yeah.
go before I say anything else.
So
Can't believe this is a real question.
no, yeah, it's a legit question. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like we've known each other about 20 years.
Yep.
And when it comes to like being at this table, like you're the reason I'm here, and you're the reason that I have friendships and relationships with these guys that we've developed over the last year. Some of the guys that over the course of, even if I'm not included in all of y'all's text message threads, like
You're not missing
some of-
much.
Yeah, well, some of the guys that I've become the closest with and can count amongst some of my best friends over this last year, like you introduced me to. You brought me to a table. You shared with me relationships with friendships. You trusted me with this podcast and those kinds of things. And that's something that is indicative of what you do in the way that you love and you care for people. Is you're not one of those folks that's like, oh, I got to compartmentalize my friends, or like I can't intermingle this. You're like, nope, these are the awesome guys that are doing things for the kingdom of God that I love. And if we can all work together and do those things together, how much greater will that be? And I'm a better pastor. I'm a better dad. I'm a better husband because I know you, because of our friendship. So, yeah, that's what it's like.
Spot
That's
on.
what it's like,
Wow.
man.
I'm gonna co-sign
feel
all that as
worthy of
well.
Yeah, for
I know
sure.
I went the weird route. But
No, not the.
Oh,
Thank you
yeah.
very much, Lucas. That's awesome, and I feel the same way. Obviously about you guys.
no, stop.
yeah, that was it. Nobody,
it.
I mean,
nobody asked
I'm
how
not
you felt
going
about us.
anymore.
You
Well,
need
no,
to
let me
you need to bring us
finish.
home.
Let me
Episode's
finish,
over.
and I want to punch both of you in the mouth. That's where I was
Okay,
going to
yeah.
go.
See, and
next
that's those terms of
with it.
endearment
That's what
that
I'm
I
talking about. Yeah.
really appreciate.
There you
That's
go. Is
What?
there any other thing we can end on other than that?
No, we hit our time limit.
No, we're
Yep.
Well, we will answer more questions on maybe not the next one, or maybe the next one. There were a lot of questions
Who knows?
and a
Yeah,
lot of good ones about the Bible. I think would be really good to
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah, interesting stuff.
But I think that only because Jen asked that's an important question. So
Yeah.
thank you guys.
yeah,
Glad we got mute buttons now. I can sniffle and be a wuss on my own.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, our producer's pretty cool. Hooked it up.
He's an idiot.
He's the least idiot of all of us, though.
Go ahead, Isaac. Bring us home.
Yeah. So, man, well, thank you guys for writing in questions, especially because we just asked for them. Like, was it today? Yesterday? Today. So thank you guys.
Today.
Well, you guys
Boy,
will
that
hear this
whole
podcast on
asking questions post.
Tuesday.
You would be surprised at how difficult it was to just create a post to ask questions.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
Well, and it got posted in a lot of different places too, which is great
Yeah.
because like visibility. But we had to collect a bunch of questions.
We gave a directive to make a post to ask questions within the Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu text message. I went and loaded the dishwasher and came back to 70 messages about how difficult this one thing had become.
Oh no!
A lot
It was pretty awesome.
name calling.
Of course.
Yep.
In love.
Yep.
But thank you guys so much for writing in questions, and thank you for just participating in supporting this podcast and recognizing it as an arm of the ministry, specifically to disciple, to encourage, to bring people in, like Lucas was talking about. And this is just broadly it's not just my heart, it is the heart of all of the people that are involved with Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu, not to keep people at arm's length, to bring people into the community and the fellowship, which is really interesting because at Pursuit I was in charge of sharing this portion of the curriculum, which was about brotherly love, and I was talking about bringing people into that fellowship that people see from afar and say, man, like, I want friends like that. I want friendships like that. I want brotherhood like that. And I don't know how many people reach out to you, but a lot of people reach out to me and say that because, man, I love the interactions that you guys have. And it's just because we're in front of cameras and then it's captured, you see it, but we're like this all the time. And it's not just,
and probably worse.
Yeah, a lot worse. But it's not just a thing that we have here. We also, like, everywhere that I train, everywhere we go, we just bring people into that, and it's not unique to us. This is like a Christian fellowship. This is that koinonia, right? The Greek fellowship. And there's an intimate relationship here, but it's for all brothers and sisters in Christ. So in the body of Christ, we should act like this. We should have friendships like this where we bring each other along and we spend. So anyway, I'm saying that's open to all of you. We thank you guys for participating in that and for supporting the ministry so we can continue to do this. So we had a bunch of, we have a few sponsors lined up, but I just want to say, like right now, if you enjoy this podcast, if you have a business, if you want to advertise something on the podcast, that, to promote a business or something like that, or you just want to donate anonymously and support our sponsor our episodes, future episodes, please do that because it helps us further the reach of the ministry. And Lucas, we just surpassed 1,000 subscribers.
We did. We got 1,000 subscribers. We are almost at our watchtower mark where we need to be, and the probability that we hit that before, like we hit our 52 weeks, is pretty high. And as soon as that happens, man, YouTube will now become an arm that can help support the ministry and the things we do here too. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Thanks to you guys.
Yeah. Thank you to all of you. Thank you so much. What is something that people who listen to the podcast, there's so many people that say, hey, how can we help?
Yeah.
What's one way they can help as far as it comes to metrics?
So the best thing to do is to tell somebody about the podcast, right? Word of mouth, and getting individual devices and views and stuff like that is still the number one way to do it. So make sure that you're telling people about the podcast. The second thing and the easiest thing to do after a subscription, because a lot of you guys are subscribed, whether it's on your iTunes stuff your Apple Podcast or Spotify or YouTube or all of that, is if you're on Apple Podcasts or something like that, leave a review. It helps us out tremendously. And if you're on YouTube and that's where you primarily watch, just hit the like button, man. Hit like, drop us a comment, and all of those things help us in the algorithm. And as that happens and that changes, then those boosts will actually go in the long run to help further the ministry at zero cost to y'all or us. Mm-hmm. So there are things that you can do that are free for you that would make a tremendous amount of impact for Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu.
Sweet.
Yeah, so we really appreciate you guys. I'll pray for us real quick. And
let's do it.
Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the opportunity to gather, to spend time as friends and brothers, Lord, just exploring your word, your goodness, the discipline that you give us. And we thank you for brothers and for a community of people who their heart is to improve. Their heart is to do better, to be better stewards of the lives and the families and the bodies and the minds that you've given us. And so it's been an honor, God, just getting to answer some of these questions. And Lord, we thank you continually for filling us with wisdom from your word and from you, and not from our own human understanding, God. Just enough that we could encourage some people. And so we're thankful for this platform and for the opportunity we have to encourage people all over the world and all over the country. And we just pray you continue to bless the ministry and further the reach of the ministry for your glory, that we could disciple and encourage and uplift and bring people into this community and fellowship. We put our hope and our trust in you. I pray for everyone that's listening to this podcast right now or watching on YouTube, God, that you would bless them in their families and their health and their relationships, Lord, and that most of all, that you would stir their heart to you and to your word. You would draw near to them as they draw near to you. We love you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. This has been Jesus in Jiu-Jitsu Podcast, episode 050.
Go train.